All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. We've got this swarm trap taken down from the tree now. They've been up there about 3 weeks, I think. Wanted to make sure I left them alone long enough to ensure that they felt this was their home. Hopefully, they've drawn comb in here. There's a laying queen in here. There's brood, there's eggs. One of the risks, you know, somebody was asking me, well, why, as soon as the swarm goes in there, why wouldn't you just immediately go ahead and put them in your, the new hive in your apiary? And the reason for that is, yes, they believe this is a good, suitable home, but until they have some sort of resources or something vested in this box, if you turn around and shake all those bees out and put them in an empty box here, they're very likely to just leave. And they may end up going back to the original spot because they don't recognize this as their new home. There's nothing in there to keep them there. There's no brood, there's no nectar, there's no honey, there's no eggs, there's nothing in there, maybe drawn wax or comb. There's nothing in there to suggest or to ensure that they're gonna stay here. So by leaving them alone for 3 weeks, yes, I could open this box and there could be a messy comb in here. That's very possible. If that's the case, I'm gonna have to pause the video, go get some rubber bands and get some empty frames, and I'll just rubber band the comb in there. It's not a big deal. But I have one drawn, fully drawn frame in here that was in the trap, and then 4 starter strip frames. The starter strip is where the majority of the frame is empty and the foundation only comes down to about here. So this would be open space. And that's important for a swarm trap because when the scout bees go in there and fly around, they're trying to determine, is there enough space in here for us to make this a new home? And so by putting starter strips, it does encourage the bees to draw the comb, hopefully, nice and straight down, but they may have messed it up in here. It could be at an angle, but we'll deal with that when that happens. I want to go ahead and transfer them into the new home here. Hopefully there's a laying queen in here, and we'll go from there. Last night around 10 o'clock at night when it was pitch dark, I walked out here and I sealed up the front entrance. Now, why would you do that? Because all the forager bees are inside the hive now. If I were to move this trap during the middle of the day, all the forager bees are out foraging. They're gonna go back to that tree location as their original hive, instead of hopefully this location. Now, the other thing that you can do is, you can grab just some weeds or some limbs or something, and it's kind of a trick to force them to reorient themselves. Instead of going back to that tree, you can kind of put a little bit of it in front of the entrance here. And all that does is it kind of tells them, you know, hey, maybe something happened, maybe a windstorm took out our hive, and you just leave it here temporarily. There's not a extreme science to it there. But the idea is this could help force orientation flights again. So let's see what we got in here. The top of this box is so tight, it's notoriously difficult to get off. So I'm gonna try my best here, but I may have to go get a hammer. Oh, no, we're good. Okay, let's see what we got here. I'll try to give them a little bit of smoke, just calm them down. Because again, this hopefully is a fully established hive in here. So let's see what we're working with. Okay, now always check your inner cover here for a queen. Bees are pretty calm, especially for keeping them all hived up all night. And this appears to be packed with bees. I see 5 seams of bees in here, so I don't know the kind of mess we're gonna have here, but I'm gonna take out the already drawn frame first. Go ahead and just leave these bees here, and then I'll shake them out once I get the frames in. Give these bees a little bit of smoke here. Okay. But I'm going to start with the drawn frame first because, again, hopefully that one will be straight up and down, and there shouldn't be too much of a mess. And then I can look in here and see what we have going on outside of that. And then if I find the queen, I'm going to end up marking her red as well because she would be a newly mated queen. So this is kind of the tough part where you try to not squish bees here because these frames are very tight in here. best of my ability, I'm going to try to pull straight up. I really don't want to roll a queen, but it's really hard when they're this tight in here. I'm just going very slow and easy. Lots of bees, and we have nectar and bee bread. So no signs of brood yet. You know, like I don't know if I've posted that video yet or not. Maybe I have before I put this one up, but we have had a terrible time this year getting virgin queens to successfully mate and return to hives. And this colony may be no different, but this is just the first frame. We'll see what we have here, but I don't see any eggs or brood, which is not encouraging. I would have thought on this first frame she would have started, if there was a mated queen, she would have started on this one. So we could have another queenless colony here. But I'm gonna go ahead and place this in the hive, and we'll see where we're at and how much mess we're gonna have on our hands here. Now you want to keep them in the same orientation that they were in, so I'm gonna push this one all the way to the left, and then we'll go this way. Look at that. They drew it nice and straight for me. So let's see what we got here. Any brood? Yes, we do. So we have a laying queen in here somewhere, which is great news. So now I'm going to try to find her if I can. See, the one thing with these with this drawn comb like that, the foundationless frames. See, I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I'll bring it over here in a second, but they tend to want to slough off, so they don't have as much support on the sides there. So you have to keep them pointed straight up and down. Like if I do this, it'll start to fall towards me if I tilt it. I'm not seeing the queen on this frame. So you can turn them upside down like this, but again, you want to keep it straight up and down. I'm not seeing the queen on this frame, so we'll keep looking, but I want to show you the starter strip. You'll see the difference in the color. So I don't know if you can see in the top there where it's black, that's where that foundation stopped, and they drew the rest straight down. So you see the black there, starter strip, and they drew all the rest down. Go ahead and put this frame in. And if I don't find the queen to marker, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just thrilled that she's in here and she's mated. So let's go with the next one. See what we have here. Just looking for her. I see eggs on this frame. Very good chance she's on here somewhere. So that means she's been laying within the past 3 days. Nice single egg, centered, bottom of the comb. Very nice. I try to get the sunlight over my back so I can see easier. She's not wanting to make an appearance yet. Just taking my time. These bees are stupid calm. Yep, don't see her on this frame, so we'll keep looking. Got 2 more to go here. I'm so grateful that they drew it nice and easy for me and straight. It makes my job a lot easier. Yep, nice bunch of eggs on this frame also. So, you know, to my point, oh, there she is. See her. I'm gonna try to go ahead and get her in my marking container. They're a little irritated now. I'll give them a little bit of smoke. They just suddenly got irritated on me. Trying to keep an eye on the queen there. There she is. Now, I know it's probably easier just to grab her, pick her up, and put her in there, but I'm not there yet. Okay, where'd she go on me? You find her and then she vanishes on you. There she is. Try to do this without making the rest of the bees mad, but it's kind of an art. Okay, she's in there. All right. Now try to close her up in here. All right, now the rest of the bees can get out, but she can't. She's big. She got a big old bottom on her too. Nice looking queen. All right, let's get the rest of these bees off. The other ones should come out. They can fit through the marking container here. Yep, there they go. Get out, out. Yep. Try to get these others out. I like to isolate the queen. I mean, I guess you could mark with the worker bees in there, but there's only one left. I'm gonna wait till this other worker bee gets out. Come on. Usually they come out pretty quick. Come on. Of course, now that I'm recording a video, she's not, but. Yeah, the other one's really wanting to stay in there. Well, I think I can still get her marked with this one worker bee in here. She about came out there. There she goes. Well, guess not. Let me show you the queen in the camera here. Hopefully you can see her okay. Focus. See her there? Good looking queen. And they're laying like a champ. So, what I was saying earlier, I'll go ahead and get her marked while I'm talking. What I was saying earlier is there's not a lot. There's no capped brood that I can see in this colony yet, and so to my very point, if I had moved that swarm trap too soon and put them in here, they could have easily left. It takes time for virgins to go on their mating flights and come back and start laying. The fact that that trap has been sitting on that tree for 3 weeks and there's just now fresh eggs in here and very, very young larvae, there's no capped brood that I can tell anywhere. Tells me, again, it was the least risky choice and the smartest choice to leave them on there for several weeks. There she goes, she's finally out. And so that, again, reinforces what I'm saying, that you want to leave them alone because this stuff takes time. Can it work by immediately putting a caught swarm into their permanent home? Absolutely, I've done it. Is it worth the risk? No, I don't think so. Especially in a year like this where it's been ridiculously impossible to get queens successfully mated and returning. I mean, it's been terrible this year. So I happily just left them alone for a while. And all right, nice big old red dot on her. So I happily just left them alone, let them do their thing. They drew comb beautifully themselves, nice and even there, straight. And so I let that queen. I generally just turn the marking thing upside down just so there's no chance that she can fly off, and I let that paint dry for about I don't know, a minute or two. I just want to make sure that paint is good and dry on her back, on her thorax. Let's give the bees a little more smoke. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the hive. Okay, all the bees off there. Get this last frame in. I really like these swarm traps though. So they haven't quite finished drawing this frame, as you can tell. And I don't see any eggs in it, so I don't think she started laying on this frame yet. They're already starting to roar now, wondering where their queen went. These frames together here. Okay. How many do we have in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 10. And now this colony, the population will get pretty large here, but of course it's probably going to get large going into a dearth. Now, oh shoot, I left my queen excluder back in the shop. I'm going to pause the video and I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. It's been long enough now. I'm gonna get her back in this colony. Very nice looking queen. So I just release her right here on the frame. She'll go right back down in there. The bees will start to groom her. Yep, there she goes. Awesome. Let's get our queen excluder on here. And hopefully, you know, changing up the, putting that little bit of the, on the entrance there helps her, or helps the foragers not want to go back to that tree. Actually, before I put this queen excluder on, I want to shake the rest of these bees. This is the only thing, if I could rebuild this swarm box, which I just made it out of material that I had. And if you haven't seen my video on, it's called Amazing Swarm Traps or something, go take a look at this. Using this OSB here, they can cling to it like no tomorrow. So I'm gonna do my best to try to shake the bees off here, but it's gonna be kind of a moot point. So I'll just have to smoke them pretty good and try to get them out that way. Yeah, I mean, there's still quite a few in there. So I'm just gonna end up smoking them and trying to get them to fly out or something along those lines. It's a pain. Like I said, if I could remake the box, I certainly do not use OSB. I'm thinking about painting it, maybe waxing the surface of it with beeswax to make it a little smoother. That might help. I try to smoke them off the OSB, and then the ones that can fly, hopefully, of course, they're not Nasanoffing or anything, but they'll go into one of these hives, I'm sure. And smoking has almost all of them out. The nurse bees won't fly, but all the others will. You just have to be patient. Now, while they're flying off, because this is a queen-right colony, I'm gonna go ahead and put this hog half comb on top of them. Now, I pulled this off a hive that swarmed on me and wasn't touching the darn thing because they weren't queen-right. So, I'm gonna try to see if this colony will start to draw it out. Now, we've had a not so great flow this spring here in Kentucky. I don't know about the rest of you, but who knows? Maybe the fall flow, if we get one, will be epic. Let's hope. So maybe the bees will start to draw this out. I don't have any expectations of them filling it up, but even if they start drawing the wax and don't fill it, then at least it's got some drawn comb in there. So for next year when I put this on a hive, really should take off. The mistake that I made was adding these and another super that had drawn comb in it. Well, of course they're not gonna spend resources and energy drawing this comb when I gave them already drawn comb on top of that. So that super's fat, stuffed with honey, and they didn't touch this. So, and the flow wasn't to the point that they felt the need to start drawing this. So c'est la vie, right? So here we are. So anyway, yeah, pretty excited that they're trying to find the entrance now, and looks like, well, hopefully within an hour or two I'll start to see some orientation flights. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close this colony up, and I'm pretty happy and excited that I have another queen-right colony this year. I mean, normally that's not this much of an issue. I may have one or two that don't requeen themselves, but I've had like 6. It's ridiculous. And I haven't even checked those 2 hives at the end yet, which I'm going to check here shortly because it's been 3 to 4 weeks, and see if there's a laying queen in there. But yeah, pretty happy that this colony seems to be doing okay and already has a mated queen. So I expect this colony to increase in population, and if they're able to draw this comb, great. If not, I'll pull it and we'll start our mite treatments. One of our beekeeping club members, he's a EAS Master Certified Beekeeper, he was saying that he's already seeing some high mite loads with some mite washes that he was doing. So which sucks, but with supers on, I'm not going to treat. I know you can use formic acid, like Formic Pro, Mite Away Quick Strips. To me, they're so harsh on the queens and the colony. I guess it's flip a coin. You take your, you do that, you put the treatment on there, kill the mites, it penetrates the cap brood. You can put it on with supers on and kill the mites, but risk harming your queen or even killing your queen. Or do you roll the dice and let the mites keep going and wait till a later time period to do a different form of treatment? I usually go with the latter. I'm just not a big fan of Mite Away Quick Strips. I know some people are. I may change my mind on that, but I've seen where it's been really harsh on some of my hives, and I'm not sure the juice is worth the squeeze. I'm sure it is if your mite loads are super high and you just have to do something, or that colony is going to die from diseases from the mites. but as long as you can defer and wait until a different time period, I'm gonna wait. And it can't be too hot out with Mite Away quick strips, and we're getting to, I think next week in Kentucky they're saying in the 90s. So so now I'm good. All the bees are out of this box, out of the trap, by the way. So you just have to smoke them and wait. But I really like these things. These things, you know, just made these. My dad and I made these in the shop, and they work really well. Every year I've caught swarms with these traps. I've got another one hanging on a tree that scouts have been looking at, but we're starting to taper off on the swarming season here. It's the very end of May, start of June. Of course, you can still get swarms into June and even in July, but it's tapering off, noticeably tapering off. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was all hands on deck. I mean, it was not like Swarmageddon or anything, but it was definitely, you know, every day I'd come out here and I'd expect to see a swarm. I think I overwintered 8 hives. I believe 7 of them swarmed. The one that did not, no, 6 of them swarmed. 2 did not. I've got a white dot queen and a yellow dot queen, and that's it. And that white dot queen obviously loves to hang around because she's been hanging around for a couple years now. But that white dot queen from last year is in this colony over here, and it's got 3 supers about 80% full. Heavy. I may pull 100 pounds of honey off that hive. Heavy. And you know, these people out there that say you know, queen excluders, they call them honey excluders, or if you're running a single brood management, you can't get a large honey yield off that, is absolute garbage. Don't believe it, because I can prove otherwise. Now, I don't know, you may get more yields with larger colonies, of course, but to me, and I've already posted a video on the pros and cons of single brood management, the pros, in my opinion, far outweigh the cons so far, and with what I've been doing. Again, I reserve the right to change my mind at some point down the road, but as of right now, I love just having singles. It's so easy for me to find the queens if I need to. If I want to do a split, it's, you know, just 5 frames, it's just easier. Everything's easier. It's less weight, it's easier on my back, all sorts of stuff. And by the way, you know, I know they always say that single brood management, single deeps, you have to deal with swarming far more. And I knew I was going to have to deal with swarming. That's why, you know, 2/3 of my hive swarmed. But you know what? I have a lot of friends that had double deeps, that run double deeps, and they had just as many swarms. So, you know, bees are going to bees, and bees want to swarm. I don't care what size the colony is or how many deeps or mediums or whatever you have. You know, yes, you can help suppress it, but bees want to swarm. So I'm not seeing a strong enough evidence or strong enough reason, if you use double deeps or triple deeps, like, you never have to deal with swarming. So, I mean, that's nonsense. So to me, it's just easier to manage these smaller colonies. It's just, you do you and I do me. But I mean, I'm just saying, I advocate for it because I just find a lot of advantages with it. But it's perfectly acceptable to do it any way that you want to. Whatever works best for you, I recommend that's what you do. This just happens to work best for me. So the bees are starting to find the entrance here. I'm gonna come out here in a few hours, maybe later this afternoon, and remove this debris from the front, but I really want them to kind of think that a natural storm just happened, and I really don't want all the foragers in this colony to go back to that tree if possible. Of course, there's gonna be some that go back there, that's gonna happen, but I'd like to minimize that. But the fact that I have a laying queen in here, over time, this colony is going to be in great shape. So yeah, pretty happy. That's about as good as it gets right there. A box absolutely stuffed with bees, 5 full frames of bees, 4 frames of drawn comb, foundationless drawn comb that they did just perfectly straight. Super calm genetics here. I probably didn't even really need to use the smoker. A tiny bit irritable there at the very end, but my God, I mean, that's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. So very pleased to have this colony in my apiary. I have no idea where they came from. Most likely from one of my hives would be the most obvious, but you never know. My neighbor does have a hive in his backyard, so I'm sure our bees are mingling as well. So, but yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.